Hello and welcome to episode 48 of the Craving Crypto podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be teaching you a working strategy to swing trade the cryptocurrency markets in 2018. So it's going to be super valuable, really useful, so that you don't keep watching coins go up 20 and 30% on CoinMarketCap and wonder why you weren't able to get in on that. So let's get right into this. Talk about consolidation, you guys. We just cannot get this damn trend to establish itself. We just keep going sideways and sideways and sideways, bouncing off support, rejecting off resistance. And I really would like to see this make a higher high above this 210 level so that we can get a clear picture of what this trend is actually doing. My primary option is still the $240 billion level to be tested. And then the secondary option would be 176 if we have a support failure of 206 billion. But right now we are double bottoming. Once we get above this level, we are going to make it green for support. But for now, it's still a neutral zone as we are bouncing inside of it. But you guys know that I think it's more likely that we'll have an inverse head and shoulder pattern play out right here, and we'll start to see more upside movement in the total market capitalization. So that's pretty exciting. If we head over to the totalmarketcap.com, we're just going to use a different one because that is the tab that I have open for the lesson for the day. If we scroll down right now, we can just see what the top mover is, which is Decred. So Decred has been around for a long time. It's one I've watched for a long time, and I just remember it being on Poloniex and stuff in the early days, and that it's definitely not like too new of a coin. It's been developed for a while now. It's on multiple exchanges, kind of established itself. But as you guys can see, there was just this horizontal channel right here, and we broke out of it significantly with volume. So that's looking really good right here for Decred, and I think that it will likely see some more type of short-term upside continuation, and then it should start to reject when it gets closer to like the 50 or 60% on the upside levels, because I would suspect that these resistance levels over here would start to be tested at the $60 level and the $65 level. So that's kind of my TA on Decred. Definitely one to keep your eye on. But you guys, I'm really excited about the lesson today, so we're going to get right into that. There isn't that much to say about the markets considering we've been consolidating. I still think that Bitcoin is bullish because of the volume spike that we saw come in, and then just, you know, some other factors that I've discussed over and over. But basically, you guys, what I'm teaching you today is an amazing strategy for trading cryptocurrencies that works currently. It's very simple. Anybody can do it. It's not complicated. You're going to be able to catch these trends. I've talked previously about how to find good setups and how to find good coins to trade, and I showed how to use the 7-day trend tool. But in today's video, I'm going to go into more detail about buying it and where you take your profits, and a couple different accumulation patterns and ones that we're looking at currently that are starting to pop off in the market today, so that you guys can go ahead and start buying them, start looking at these coins for yourself and finding setups to be trading. So yeah, it's going to be really awesome. First, we'll go to the coinmarketcap.com and check out 7-day trending. If you guys don't know already, you can click on coinmarketcap.com, and then when you get there, over here, right here at the top right, you'll see a thing that says View All. Click View All, and then sort by the biggest gainers on the 7-day trends. And then we're going to keep our eyes wide open for volume, specifically above 1 million, but if it's in the 100,000s, that's still good as long as it's in the like 8,000 or 165 or $4 or $0. So make sure that there's good trading volume so you can get in and out of the position. And you're just looking for one that has a strong 7-day trend. And when you click on the chart, you see that you like the accumulation pattern. If it's doing rounded bottoms, you like the way that the volume is presenting itself, the way that the trend is developing, and things like that. So some of the ones that I saw when I just scrolled through here based on volume was OWN, Wobit, Bzop, I think, Haven Protocol, Raven, Nexo, Bezant. It was pretty easy to spot these coins because they all had around $1 million in volume. Some of them were a little bit less, like 300,000 or so, but they all had good 7-day trends, like within 30 to 100% of a 7-day upside move. And as you can see, this one is a little bit more overvalued on the short term. So basically you pull up all these charts and you find the ones that have the good volume, and then you decide which ones are in a range that you could be taking positions still. It hasn't met too many of the resistance points yet, and it hasn't started to get overvalued on the short term. So for example, this one is likely to go a little bit higher here. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it FOMOs higher, but it's already back up to these resistance points that we saw previously in the market. Now the accumulation pattern is what we look for. I've talked about in the past as like a spoon formation, or just like a rounded bottom, and that's what we see here. We see a drop off in the market, and then we get one more drop off in the market that kind of makes that spoon shape, and it does a rounded bottom, volume starts to pick up, and it starts to break out and go on the upside. So that's the accumulation pattern that you want to train your eye to see with these 7-day trends when you're popping them up. And this, by the way, is from the start of time until today, so I'm not looking at like a 7-day period of time. We just found this coin based on the 7-day trend, and now we're looking at the full picture for the coin based on when it got added to the first exchange and all of its price history since then. So this one, definitely add it to your watch list. If this retraces, you could play it again by buying the dip with a tight stop near the previous support levels and then aiming to sell at those resistance levels again, because it's likely to do a market cycle where it comes up and then retraces and then starts to curl again. But either way, yeah, you could add this to your watch by clicking on the little watch button right there. This one is a little bit of a better setup. This is WowBit. And this one, as you can see, it's only came up to the very first resistance point right here. It has that spoon formation that I talk about. The handle comes down, and then you have a kind of a spoon, rounded bottom type shape right here. Then you've got the volume increasing. Right here we are in, 100,000, 40,000, and now we're up into 300, 400. So the volume came back, but we still have a lot of resistance levels up here to sell at that we haven't tested yet. So this one is a really good setup. This is what we're going to use as the example for the trading plan that the strategy that I'm teaching you today. So WowBit meets all of the criteria for this setup, and it's what we're going to go ahead and call for the one that we're using to show you how to take your profits, how to play it, how to find your entry and get out on all of those things. Either way, here is the other ones that we'll just go over why we're not playing them. This right here is too jaggedy. It has a history of finding a bottom and then bouncing up and then quickly getting rejected. And as you can see, it just quickly bounced right here, so it could do a rejection again like it's done multiple times in the past. So this one just has a bad history, and it doesn't have that clean accumulation pattern that I was talking about with that spoon that we see in these other coins right here. So that's kind of why we're just not going to touch this one at all, but it was on that 7-day trend, but it's too risky to play. This one right here is Haven Protocol. This one has a little bit of a less risky outlook to it, but it is starting to get closer to the resistance levels, similar to what we're seeing with this one. It's not as parabolic as this one, so I would suspect this one probably does some parabolic movement before rejecting, but either way, this has gotten significantly above its trend right here, and it's not in this early stage. It's definitely not in its 1 wave. It's beginning its 3 wave, so it's a little bit overvalued on the short term. But it is a good one to watch when it does retrace back down, because it's got that beautiful spoon accumulation pattern that usually results in a larger degree uptrend. So definitely keep an eye on those ones that pop that pattern up and have the volume behind them. And then of course Raven coin, I've talked about this one. It was one of the top movers. We went over it. We showed how to look at it and all that stuff. But this one is just, it made a new all-time high. Very beautiful. It did that same kind of rounded, that spoon formation right here. It's a little bit more jaggedy in the middle, but that same structure of the accumulation pattern, and then just really took off right here. So shout out to the Raven coin holders and anybody that made money on that nice move to a new all-time high. You guys, this is one of the reasons that I think that the bull market will be coming back, is I'm seeing the same conditions that we saw in the June and July correction of the altcoins of 17. Basically what happened was they all corrected, and then a bunch of names started popping off and breaking new all-time highs and developing these trends. And then the rest of the coins kind of followed them behind. So seeing that currently is a good sign. We could see the other markets start to pick up and the dead weight off of them, and they start to follow behind some of these leaders in the market. But obviously it's speculation until Bitcoin makes another higher high. Either way, currently that's what I'm leaning towards. So, but yeah, no, and then Nexo is going to be one that's closer. You could probably still play this one. It just did its one wave, and it just did its first wave and its three wave, but it really hasn't taken off yet for its three wave, and it has that beautiful accumulation pattern. So this one is definitely one to keep your eyes on. And then of course this one looks okay. It's a little bit more jaggedy because there's not as many exchanges. There's high volume, but these are less known exchanges, so there is some risk involved because of that. But it's definitely one to keep your eye on because of the 7-day trend. So here is coinsignals.trade. This is where we do our TA on the CoinMarketCap coins. And this is Fibonacci drawn from the high to the low. So this is what we're talking about when we say that you need to go ahead and draw your fib going from the low to the high, setting your sell orders as a take profit 1 level, take profit 2 level, and a take profit 3 level. 25% selling at each level, and then keeping 25% in for the long haul and the long term. This is how I like to swing trade these setups, and really the best method that I've found for getting in and then back out of the market, because this is going to play a market cycle, and once it rejects off these resistance levels, it's going to come back down. You'll have another opportunity to get in. So it just makes sense to keep a little bit in for the long term in case it does what Raven did and breaks out to a new all-time high. But also it makes sense to reduce a lot of your risk and take your profits off the table as you hit these resistance levels. So the ones that I like to sell out are the 786, the 618, and the 50% for their first wave. Now obviously this made a 1 wave right here, then it's going to do a 3, 4, and a 5, and that will make the first wave of a bigger move. So it's going to look something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it could hit all of them. It might only hit the first 2. If the last one doesn't get hit, if it drops to the second one, then you sell the last one at the price of the second. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna pull this right here. Okay, so it's gonna do a wave up like this and then reject, back down, do an ABC correction. And that will be a big 1 wave. So at that point, we'll have to decide whether there's any demand left in the market, or whether it's just going to drop further, or whether it's going to go in for a 3 wave. So that right there, you guys, is the Elliott wave perspective that you see come out of these kind of rounded spoon formations. And that's why you get out at those levels, because it's the first market cycle before it rejects back down, and then you can potentially buy the dip for further upside continuation if it creates a larger degree uptrend, like these patterns often do. That's how you buy it. Personally, the best way to do it, again, is to find these ones that haven't met all those resistance levels yet. They're early on in their trend, similar to Nexo. Nexo's a little bit further. It broke above the 1 wave, and then this wow bit. So again, you guys, with wow bit, you could buy a tiny bit now. Now for stop losses, with this specific trading plan, I just use very small amounts of my portfolio, because generally you can make 300 to 400% gains. So as long as you're watching it with alerts and you make sure that you're not taking any more than about a 20% maximum loss on a trade, you don't really need to have a stop loss. You can just buy a little bit and watch it and play it. That's the way that I like to personally play these swings, because there is so much volatility in the crypto space. And if Bitcoin has like a weird FUD day, or something happens and there's wicking action, or just something that causes a panic wick on the upside or the downside for these altcoin markets, sometimes it's better not to play them with the stop and just use a lot less of your portfolio so that it's still minimizing that risk. That's how I personally view this strategy, and that's how I like to play it for these coins. So you can follow all of this. I go over the 3 tips right here in the document. You can click on the example to look at how we did this chart. If you want to play this setup, you are more than welcome to buy this coin and play this setup. It looks really good, you guys. And again, for the accumulation pattern that you're looking for, watch for those spoon formations, those rounded bottoms, and volume starting to pick up. And then of course, you know, just use small amounts when you're testing the strategy at the start. So that's basically the amazing strategy that works very consistently in the crypto markets, you guys. And this one works for me. This is what I saw in Raven before it took off. This is what we're starting to see in Nexo. Again, this is what we're starting to see in Wopit. So you guys, this works. Try it out. See if it works for you. I have a feeling you'll be glad you did. And let's just go ahead and go over the Binance link if you guys want to do altcoin trading. This is one of my favorite exchanges to do so. You can sign up under my referral. We've got the technical analysis for the day right here. We've got Coinigy if you want to do altcoin technical analysis. BitMEX if you want to do leverage trading on Bitcoin, although beginners should not be doing this. And my Bitcoin address if you like what I'm doing, you can send donations that way. And last but not least, the VIP course if you want to get more hands-on with your trades and copy my trade signals. Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. I hope that you learned something. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and drop them in that box below. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next videos. As always, stay profitable out there. You want to be on YouTube? You're already on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm not.
What? Every kid that's 5 years old and up at least is on YouTube these days.
Yeah.
Why is that? Are you guys gonna run the world? You're gonna learn how to do everything on the internet?
No.
No?
I'm banned from the internet.
You're banned from the internet? Why?
Because of Fortnite.
Fortnite? Oh no! Not Fortnite!